No more dividends for the rest of the financial year. Wait, what? Yup, you heard correctly. The Bank of Jamaica announced on Friday that banks have agreed not to pay out any dividends for the rest of the 2020 financial year until further notice. Wow, things are getting interesting. I'm Kalila Reynolds, and it's time for another episode of Money Mondays JA, brought to you in partnership with Proven Wealth. Now, before I continue, make sure you like this video so that YouTube can show it to more people, subscribe to this channel, and turn on post notifications so that you get alerted every time a new video drops. Also follow at We Are Proven on Instagram and Twitter, and check out their website, provenwealth.com. So I know I told you last week that I was gonna talk some more about oil prices today, but then BOJ went and dropped this little bomb on Friday afternoon. No more dividends for the rest of the year. The central bank says they consulted with the boards of the financial holdings company FHC designates, and they've arrived at a mutual understanding. According to a statement from the BOJ, the FHC designates and deposit-taking institutions DTIs have agreed to suspend the distribution of profits. Now, who are these FHC designates and DTIs? According to Investopedia, a financial holding company is a bank holding company that can offer non-banking financial services such as insurance underwriting and investment advisory services. In Jamaica, the BOJ oversees all FHCs. Now, DTIs, deposit-taking institutions, are institutions that take deposits, such as banks where you deposit your money. So we're talking in general about financial institutions, banks, insurance companies, brokerage firms. Not sure if it would also cover like remittance companies. I actually have an interview with BOJ Governor Richard Biles on Taking Stock this evening, so I'll ask him to clarify. You don't want to miss that. It premieres at 7 p.m. on YouTube and Nationwide News Network. Now, as I've explained in a previous video, companies distribute their profits through dividends. Now, dividends can be paid in either cash or additional stock in the company. Well, this move is hitting both types of dividends. Neither cash nor stock dividends will be paid out until further notice. But just to be clear, this only applies to the types of institutions I mentioned earlier. So it's not that all of the companies listed on the Jamaica Stock Exchange won't be paying any dividends. I know a lot of you are heavily invested in Wigton and Trans Jamaica. Those will still be paying dividends if they make a profit and the shareholders approve, of course. Now, even though this no dividends agreement doesn't cover all the listed companies, it does cover many of the larger and more popular ones. Certainly, it would include most, if not all, the companies listed on the JSE's financial index. After the news broke on Friday, it sent a lot of people into a tizzy, and you're like, but I was counting on that dividend check, especially now that other sources of income may have dried up. You may have lost your job or at least a part of your income. And if you're invested in the stock market, it's not the best time to sell because you'd likely be doing so at a loss. So you don't have that to fall back on either. The only thing left might have been that dividend check. And now that's not coming either, not from financial institutions anyway. Curse you again, COVID. So why would the BOJ not want these institutions to pay dividends? The statement says that they want to conserve money to ensure that banks have it in order to lend more to people and businesses who may need to borrow it as a result of this whole situation. Additionally, think about who owns these companies. They're not all Jamaican owned. Scotiabank, for example, has Canadian ownership. So when these companies pay dividends to their foreign owners, that's a large chunk of money leaving the country, and it's leaving in US dollars at that. US dollars that we'll already be in short supply of because we're not earning any from tourism right now, which is the major source of US dollars. The government just shut down the entire BPO sector for 14 days, another major source of US dollars. We haven't been exporting any bauxite since late last year, and remittances are taking a hit because our family and friends abroad are all in the same boat as we are, and they don't have money to send right now. By the way, keep watching the foreign exchange market in the coming days and weeks. The dollar will probably hit new lows against the U.S. due to the scarcity of supply, even though the BOJ says it has enough in reserve to last us several weeks worth of imports. Another thing I'm going to ask Governor Biles about. Watch taking stock. So who else does this affect? Like I said, you have the foreign owners of these institutions, but you also have thousands of local shareholders, regular people like me and you, as well as other large institutions like pension funds. Pension funds are heavily invested in these types of stocks. How will they manage payouts if they're not receiving any dividends? That's another thing we'll need to discuss, because who receives pensions? The elderly. And who's most affected by this disease? The elderly. They're gonna need the money now more than ever. And this no dividend policy is supposed to last for the rest of the 2020 financial year. Bear in mind, we just started the 2020 financial year, so the end of it isn't until March next year. This also affects unpaid dividends from last financial year. Those are suspended too until further notice. Now, despite all this, the BOJ says the fundamentals of Jamaica's financial system remain strong. It says banks have more than enough cash, and the central bank also stands ready to provide more if they need it, or any other type of support. Will be interesting to see how the market reacts to this news in the coming days and weeks. Did I already tell you to watch taking stock? Watch taking stock. Here's what's coming up. No dividends from banks for the rest of the 2020 financial year. The announcement from the Bank of Jamaica caught many off guard. BOJ Governor Richard Biles explains why they took the decision. And later, the analysts weigh in on the latest market developments. We'll get reactions from our analysts about the suspension of dividends. Plus, with the auditors raising concerns about iCreate's future profitability, there's been a major shakeup of the company's board. And oil prices turned negative for the first time in history last week, with the U.S. benchmark West Texas Intermediate WTI trading as low as negative $40 a barrel. We'll discuss. That's it for this episode of Money Mondays JA, brought to you in partnership with Proven Wealth. Visit their website, provenwealth.com, to open an investment account. I'm Khalila Reynolds. Stay safe.